is absolute dynamite. And boom, it goes.
And boom, the layup goes. Slusta and Decran are on the move. To Decran!
Hi, this is Alana Acha here with Tyke Bogan Clary. Welcome to London Invite. This is going to be the second round of the women's division. We have Yaka versus Doubling Gravity. Any thoughts?
It's going to be an exciting game. It is currently, what temperature did you say it is here? 25 degrees. It is hot. It's a hot day in London. How are you finding the tournament so far?
Good, yeah. It's been a good game, a bunch of good games so far. Every division now has played at least once. It's pretty windy.
Yeah.
This field in particular has an upwind, downwind. The wind is coming from the left of our cameras, shooting down to the right. So it'll be interesting to see how that might affect some of the strategies. Always expect to see a zone out of the Irish contingent in just about any division, if I'm being honest. They're quite used to this, but Yaka do normally shred through some zones. So I think it's a good matchup.
Yeah, it'll be good. I caught Yaka's game this morning against Smog. I think they lost around 15-10 or something like that, so it'll be good to see if they're able to rally back. Did you catch Gravity's game this morning?
I didn't catch Gravity's game. I was doing comms on the Yaka game, so kind of, yeah, similarly, I think Yaka struggled a little bit on the energy front, and they've come out, at least so far, walking onto the line with a bunch of cheering and claps, so I think that hopefully they're starting on a good note and will continue through.
Yeah, the cheers of Noisy-le-Sec are ringing around the fields of Grasshoppers.
Love to see it. Looks like the round has technically just started, but we are just waiting for the teams to clear the line and get ready for the first pull.
Looks like we've got Gravity coming out on O? No, Gravity coming out on D.
Gravity on D, so Yaka for the first O point.
Sam Megan giving some words to his team just before they get ready to go. Yeah, so I think Gravity roster's changed a little bit this year. I know Kate Daly, who was one of their stalwarts for the past couple of years, has gone out to Canada.
Yeah, Toronto. I saw that the other day. Super excited for her.
It's going to be so distracting. Claire Gilhidi. Okay, looks like we're set.
All right.
Sutherland on the pull.
Fielded by Mondio. Swung to Langlois, almost very low. Bass with the continuation. Looks to break, but centers back to Langlois. Mondio. And a big huck going up to Maria Castillo. Looking to the far side. Looked like there was a bit of a defensive question on that switch, or as they broke down, but Van Goven, the one that was open in the end zone with no defender. Easy upwind point for Yaka.
Castillo doing work downfield. She's been cutting up Europe for years now and hasn't lost a step.
Always. Yeah, she's one of the times you try and force her under because you don't want her to shred you deep like that instance, and then you give her the disc and she will just rip a full field huck, and you kind of feel as a defender like, what am I supposed to do? I can't take away everything, but yeah, powerhouse. What can you do?
Now we get a look at the Gravity O-line.
Lucy Bonds with Yaka will be the one pulling. First look at the Gravity O-line.
this is Lucy's first season with Yaka, right?
Yep, first season, went left from Iceni last year. First season now with Yaka. There's a couple of new players for Yaka. I know that Tessa Jalik, who is also on that line, is also an Iceni import. She moved there with her partner to Paris last year. Flynn with the disc. It's a zone from Yaka. Dishes it back to Baron, till Gilhini, back to Baron, and Gilhini walking well across the backfield. Flynn, Gilhini, Baron moving all the way across the width of the field, making that zone work. Not able to push anything through and hasn't challenged to put anything over the top yet, but I'm sure it will be coming. Baron with the disc.
Yeah, that wall of Yaka just keeping gravity, swinging it between themselves, haven't looked to push through yet.
Oh, looking for the reset. Flynn with an unfortunate drop there. Gravity immediately switching on to defense. But Jalik picking up the disc and immediately throwing an inside flick for the score.
Yeah, that was pretty punishing from Yaka. Like, they kept their front of the zone pretty solid. Gravity seemed to have a bit of an issue pushing through it. And then very clinical, very punishing as soon as they got the disc. Straight break from Jalik.
Minot with the score. Open on that break side. A good start for Yaka. Definitely the momentum that they're looking for. Some fighter jets flying over the top of the complex here.
Sorry if we go quiet every now and again. I'm not sure if it picks up on the microphones, but there's fighter jets flying over Grasshoppers at the moment. And the sound is genuinely deafening anytime they move.
Thought it's not worth trying to yell over the airplanes.
The RAF out doing a bit of a show. I wonder how much Clapham paid to get that.
Is that what the player fee goes to nowadays?
Must be. Well, I don't know. They've still got prize money left over for a prize fund. So
that is true.
What is it? £1,000 going to the winner of every division?
I believe so. Flynn fielding the pull, looking to Baron. It's another Yaka zone. Gravity bringing a couple of their players back. Baron. Moving the disc quite well. A number of different Gravity players looking to get involved and crashing in through the cup. There goes Sonia. Flynn taking those easy resets, taking what they're given. Baron on the sideline with a big flick huck. Ooh, and just through the hands of number 73. Don't have the name of that player. But I like the look. I like that aggressive look.
Having played with Baron a few times, I know she's constantly lining up a big shot. And to be fair, it was pretty on point, just unfortunate little drop in the end zone.
Oh, and another unfortunate drop there, but for the other side. Flynn with the disc to Baron. Looking into Gravity's end zone look. Looking onto the break side. There's two of them there, and it's brought down by Michelle Balance for the score. That's Gravity on the board. 2-1.
Yeah, and it's probably tough to tell on stream, but the wind is ripping. That was almost throwing into the wind. It's kind of blowing. It's blowing a little bit left to right, but against us as well. So Helen really locked it in there, getting the breakout and sitting lovely for Flynn. It's a close game now.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see kind of as the momentum as you get into it. Sometimes those early breaks are devastating for teams and they can never come back from it, but I feel like both of these teams historically have been fairly hard to fluster. Sometimes they'll go up, sometimes they go down, and it doesn't really change that game plan. They just chug right along.
Currently going to be getting some downwind O's, so break is going to be, whichever team can get that upwind break first is going to be a pretty pivotal moment in the game.
Sutherland with the disc. She will be pulling for gravity. A daunting upwind pull. Here we come. Flies quite nicely though. Jalink fielding to Bass. Looking far side. Into the middle to Bonds. Fakes that big backhand hook. Bilbach across to Bass. Over the top. Unfortunate, Tan was there in the right place, but a well-weighted throw, especially shooting downwind, would be very easy to overthrow the receiver there, but weighted that one perfectly.
Yeah, she just chipped the defender. Really liked Yaka's initiation at the start. They had a very spread 3-4, create a lot of space in the middle that they were just pretty happy to carve up, and then eventually just worked their way up into Bass, getting a lovely little lead pass for the score.
Yaka responding a lot better to the upwind, downwind of this field than they were with the crosswind of the field that they played on earlier. The different orientations across the 4 pitches that are here does add in a little bit of an extra element.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a tournament where people are going to have to adapt to every game is going to be different. The conditions are going to be different. It feels like the wind is almost changing.
Yeah, definitely.
Every half hour or so. So it's not just, oh, he can come out, we know we're going to be in full-blown upwind, downwind games the entire time. It's got to be constantly testing. But I suppose looking across the divisions, that's what a lot of these teams here want. Like, especially in the mixed division, World Games, a lot of World Game squads here, obviously going to be testing themselves and wanting to really push themselves on every opportunity they can get. So,
and early in the season, I mean, they still have, what, about a month before they have to play. Flynn fielding the pull to Barron. Another one of the zones from Yaka. Flynn and Barron working amongst themselves. Finding a hole there. Continuing the movement between the handlers. Gilheeney to Flynn. Across to Barron. With that flick hook. Justina pops it over and across to Keenan. And that's gravity on the board again. 3-2.
Yeah, you can see from this Yaka zone, they're playing really, really tight with their front 3. Like, they're more than happy to let gravity just swing it between their 3 handlers at the back. But as soon as, I think it was Barron, got that break through the middle, it started to open up everything a lot more for them. They were able to get a bit more flow going before eventually getting it back to Barron. It felt like Castillo had to cover about 3 players at the back. Kind of emphasizing again, they're putting a lot of pressure up the front and then letting Maria do a lot of the work down the backfield.
Do what she does best and cover all the ground. Yeah, it's quite, I agree with you, it is quite a passive zone. Okay, giving the handlers some motion, bringing the 4th back for gravity, I think, is definitely the best way to break through it. And then if we can try and get something through or around the wall, maybe over the top. I know they will love their scubas and hammers. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of those come out. But good walk from the gravity O-line there. Staying patient, staying conservative until just the right moments.
Yeah, nice and chill.
LeBron picking up the disc to Bass, shooting deep, and it's a low throw. Doesn't come out, I think, at the hands of Bass the way that they wanted it, but it does result in a score. The receiver has your back. That's what you need sometimes, just receivers that have your back.
I think Bass and I had the same reaction of like, oh, that's going to turf. I don't know how it stayed up.
I don't know how it stayed up either. But Gaspard, under the disc, no question actually on it. It was definitely up, but it just didn't come out at all the way that I think that Bass wanted. Yeah, from the past few points, Yaka are scoring with a bit of ease going downwind. Their O-line points are pretty brief, they're pretty short. Gravity are having to do a little bit more work, more so because of the zone rather than playing match defense. Yeah, walking through that zone, I think, is forcing them to be a little bit more patient and conservative for the Gravity O-lines. But I do think it will all come back to who gets that upwind break. Yaka's first point upwind, they did score with ease. It didn't feel like the wind in that point really was even playing that much of a factor. It was that big huck up to Castillo. Speaking of Castillo with the disc now getting ready for the pull. Oh, and it's been swung across to Mondio. Fielded by Flynn to Barron. And there is that front wall again. Gilhini with the disc. Flynn not liking the upfield option, takes the reset to Sonia and across to Barron. Popping it up over the top. Barron with the disc to Sonia, looking for the reset. The defense has now gone to match. Oh, just too far for Barron, but here comes Flynn just sweeping up the trash for the score.
Visionary throw. Gravity handling the zone well. They're definitely going for a handler approach to wrap around that wall, and we're kind of leaving the, I hear tons of different terms for this, but the rove or mullet or whoever that person is in the middle of the zone.
The short deep.
The short deep, yeah, sure.
The middle.
But just kind of stuck, like no one to really guard, and then the other three, cutters downfield, holding a good bit of space, so letting those four do the work.
I wonder if they're going to change up their defensive look here, Gravity. Maybe throwing a zone or of themselves.
Feels like a
zone kind of day.
It really feels like a zone kind of day. I suppose the challenge when you're coming against Yaka is they have got a lot of very clean professional throwers on their team who will be able to find their way around it, and particularly with the wind on their back, it'll be tough to contain.
Linny with the pull, stopping the roll. It doesn't quite need to be stopped itself. Jelink walking up calmly to the disc into a side stack, but it looks like there's a zone itself from Gravity. LeBron, across to Menard. The Yaka handlers moving in amongst themselves. Becca not quite in the end zone. Jalink almost with the toe in, but unable to secure the bubble. Sutherland coming in to make sure that it's dead. Throw coming a bit too short for Sutherland to catch. Bass with the disc immediately finds Becker in the end zone for a Yaka score, 5-3.
Well, it's good to know that Coach Sam Egan's listening to us, recommending his own. So walking past us. Yeah, good sustained pressure from Gravity there. I think they held their zone the whole way through. It looked like they definitely played some kind of poach set towards the end zone. But did end up stuck on that far corner, which is, again, in these conditions, can be very difficult to get out of. We saw a pretty aggressive throw, trying to find Sutherland back in the middle and get the team off to the races, but just came off. And then Paula Vass again, very clinical as soon as she gets on disc and punching it back in.
Yeah, they are one of those dangerous players that, you know, as soon as they get the disc, it's going to be a
it's business time.
It's business. Yeah, and they're not going to wait. When they decide it's a fast break, it's a fast break. And if they decide it's con, they will set out and communicate what structure they actually want from their team.
Just noticed Bobby Can's wearing Crocs. I was wondering why I hadn't seen her play yet. She must be out for the tournament.
She was playing in the first game, so maybe there was an injury or something that's come up. But they might be also rotating through the different players, because Jalink and one of their other players also was off in the first game, but they're both playing now. Back to that Yaka zone. Gravity just continuing to swing the disc amongst themselves and bringing as many players back as they feel like they need. Flynn hitting Baron. Ooh, Baron trying to take advantage of all of the arsenal of her throws.
Yeah, but she gained yards.
Does gain yards. This is an upwind break opportunity. A couple of cutters already busting deep, but nothing coming up yet. Castillo with the disc on the far sideline. Hitting Langlo with the flick. Back to Castillo, swinging all the way across. Iconica. Mondio. Drucka. To Mondio. To Castillo. It just catches and pops up a little bit higher than I think she was expecting it to. The flight path definitely changed, leading to a turn. Gravity back with the disc. Yaka immediately setting that zone.
Yeah, I think Gravity right to just get it moving as fast as they can. Don't let them try it. Don't give them a chance to set up.
Flynn with the disc, moving it all the way across to Justina. Oh, and an unfortunate turn there. Drucka with the disc, working amongst themselves. Stall count must be getting up a little bit high, but Castillo there to save the day. Hits the deck to secure it. Van Gerven shooting to Mondio for that upwind break, now taking the score to 6-3.
Yeah, it was pretty clean from Yaka, right? They looked very comfortable once they got a bit of movement. Castillo having to do a little bit of work, save a rogue disc or two, but I mean, very stable from a lot of the players who were involved there.
Walking it mostly up that trapped sideline, just taking those open unders.
Yeah, and I think the thing that also killed Gravity there was a bit of a short field turnover. Like,
definitely.
It does make it a little bit easier to get those breaks when you don't have that distance to go. But we can see Gravity looking for a few more aggressive shots to try and get through that zone. Unfortunate to not connect there last time, but
I know they've brought a bit of a, like you said before, there's been a lot of change to their rosters recently in the last couple of years. A number of like younger, less experienced players. It's a really good opportunity to play at a tournament like this, whether it is against some of these club teams or some of the U24 teams that are here preparing for Spain in 2 weeks' time. A week's time almost, really. I think it starts
next weekend, isn't it?
I think
next Saturday.
The first game, the celebratory opening game is next Saturday, I believe. So time flies. Already in the middle of summer. Jeez.
Oh, it's been a while now since we played under 24s, Lana.
Don't expose my age now.
What a tournament, though. That's like, I think that was my first flavor of full-blown international ultimate. I was like, this is just.
Yeah, it definitely was
this is
for
peak.
me.
It's really something that'll just get you completely hooked in on the sport. So I'm very jealous of all the under 24s getting to head out now to the north of Spain and just have an absolute blast. Although it's looking like it's going to be north of 30 degrees every day, so I hope they've been training for the heat.
Personally, I love that. I love the heat, but I know that it's not everyone's favorite. Yaka immediately hitting into this zone again. Hurley with the disc, one of ULTI.TV's finest. Great find going through. Hinwood, Tamash, Sutherland. Always threatening Sutherland to try and get through that big fakes. Oh, an unfortunate drop there by Hurley. Gravity going to match defense. Becca with the disc. Nobody marking yet. Becca. Oh, and that just dying in the wind.
Injury, got an injury call.
Injury been called by one of the Yaka players. As Manad was kind of bending down, trying to reach that disc. I'm not sure if something pulled or what the situation was there. Gravity taking the opportunity to also get some fresh legs on the field. Woo, can't get my words out today. That's when you know I've already done 4 games of
been
commentary.
Working hard.
Jalink with the D, really attacking that disc. You could see from the side what was going to happen there. Bass with the disc, hits Barnes, that open under, back to Bass. Swinging all the way to the far side to Becca, but it's Deed.
D from Linny.
By Linny. And Linny immediately striking deep. I love that.
Yeah, a fellow tall player who just knows their job. Go score the end zone.
Hey, do what you do best. Sutherland going to ground to catch that one. Stool count must be rising. Throws a bailout. Just trying to at least play Huck and D. Jelink picks up the disc. Immediately hits Bass to Bonds. Shooting to the end zone. For the score. Great work there by Yaka. Great flow off of that. I think they really capitalized and abused the turnover when it felt like Gravity weren't quite switched on to play lockdown D.
Yeah, Yaka happy to just get going and throw like that from Barnes. You can see why they're delighted. She's decided to bring her talents to Noisy-le-Sec.
Noisy-le-Sec.
Noisy-le-Sec. How's your French, Lana?
No, it's non-existent.
Non-existent?
I don't even know how to say that in French.
Non-existent.
Non-existent. My Spanish is a bit better, but even at that.
Well, you spent some time out in Spain, right?
Yeah, and I learned not much.
Spanglish.
Spanglish. I learned what Spanish cervezas I like.
I just did two or 3 weeks in Colombia, and my partner speaks fluent Spanish, but she kept trying to get me to speak French, and all I would say to people is dos cervezas.
Dos cervezas.
We're all best friends.
Castillo with the disc for the pull, indicating readiness. And it is up. Will they go for that zone? It looks like it. Or immediately 3 swarming the disc. Flynn to Baron. Gilheeney to Flynn on the far side. Just taking those swings all day. Nobody quite over on our side to continue the disc flow and movement. Moves back to Flynn. Gilheeney. Finds a hole, hitting Justina. And a ton.
Yeah, just a bit of a lackadaisical throw from Sonia there.
Perislavits. Is that how you say it?
Perislavits.
Perislavits.
So Clapham had just played Is No Good, which are obviously same area as Yaka. Oh, another turn already. I'll finish that thought in a minute.
There was a ton over there. Gilheeney picks up the disc and immediately throws a flick huck just too far. Mondio going to pick up the disc. What were you saying about our Parisian counterparts in the open
Parisian
division?
counterparts, yeah. No, they also played a lot of zone against us, and we can see, like, I can just see the zones almost have the same identity. Like, as soon as there's a swing, everyone's dropping back and then coming in very containy, really wanting to make sure that nothing gets through the middle.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
As Baron earns that back. But their movement is so good.
Flynn with the disc in the center of the field. Pointing with the offhand as to where she wants her player. Gilheeney with a big upline. Wide open, no force right now. Tries to hit a break side, just no cuts ready for it. To Baron. Even now, they're sagging quite a lot off of the handlers. They're using that give and go motion though. The Gilheeney Baron pairing. Gilheeney to the end zone. Oh, and she snags it. The question is she in bounds, it looks like.
I thought she was good.
She definitely came from out of bounds back
I
into
think
bounds.
she got her feet back in.
So it wasn't the last touch. I don't know if it's a straddle that's called or what. He will have the replay.
So she's out.
She's out of bounds here. Ooh, it's foot's on the line, I think. They go to VAR, ask us for the take, and we've confirmed it's out.
Sam
Good
Egan
spirit.
there using VAR, coming in, double checking. Even though it took us a minute to decide, he'd already decided pretty quickly.
I don't like to get involved unless the players opt to come to me. I'm not going to indicate anything, but if they do want a perspective, I will only ever say something if it's pretty clear and obvious, which that one you could see her foot was on the line. So
A roar.
Mondio with the disc now from the Yaka half to Castillo. To Linglu. Immediately ripping a backhand. Oh! And just too far.
Just a classic tough to read in the wind kind of disc. It looked like it was right into the bread basket and then pulled away from her at the very last second. She had to change her approach.
A good bid by Dreka though. Baron and Gilheeney finds Sonia to Justina. Back to Gilheeney. This gravity half is quite patient going through the zone. They don't really jam too many things that feel really forced. Just happens to be little execution errors here and there where they turn over, but it's not usually on things that are blatantly poor decisions. Yaka going to match, but just overthrown for Flynn. Tries to run it down though. I do appreciate that, like second attempt.
Yeah, you always
Hustle,
have to
one might
appreciate
say.
the hustle, right?
Yeah.
It does just seem like it's like gravity get a great bit of momentum going and then it's just one loose pass that kind of derails the offense.
Great break there by Mondio. And another break, ooh, to try and hit deep, but
This point's starting to push on.
underthrown.
This is the same point as that injury call, right?
Yeah, a long point.
This is a long point.
Munier hitting the deck there to try and pick that one up. Yaka in the zone as expected. Gravity a bit slow to get additional handless back. Finding the hole though to Justina.
Justina seems to be the favorite target once they get past that wall.
Balance ripping. Oh, just over the hands of Castillo
I think
to Keenan.
all 14 people on the pitch are thrilled.
Ready
point is
for
over.
some water, I believe. The score now 7 to Yaka, 3 for Gravity. Here we'll see it again. Sonia finding balance. Here opening up that big backhand huck. Castillo reading it well. Just flying over her head, and Keenan able to pick it up before it hits the ground. Love it. Love to see it.
Things you love to see.
And while you're here, we just want to say thank you for watching. If you are interested in watching any of the other games, we have 3 streamed pitches on in each round. I think there's 9 different slots, so 27 games over the course of today. A number of them are within the London Invite package, so please do look to like, subscribe, become a member so you have access to those games. But lots of quality games and matchups in this round as well as in the rounds to come and the rounds that have gone.
And the rounds that have gone. Yeah, basically what we're saying is your whole weekend is covered.
Covered
just
here
park
by
up.
ULTI.TV.
What other games do we have going on around us?
Becca with the disc. Gravity have thrown a zone again for themselves, trying to counteract against that Yaka zone. Bonds with the disc to Jalink, to the Born. They look very patient again, nice and easy, swinging, taking what's open. They have quite a passive zone as well. It's very similar to the Yaka zone, really.
I was just thinking. Oh.
And that look to go deep by Jalink, just overthrown, sails as it's downwind. Giving the Gravity D-line a chance to get a break.
There we go, we're coming in on that tough corner again.
Let's see what Sutherland's got.
Coffin corner, handler's favorite place.
If there's one person who's not afraid of a little coffin corner, it's Sutherland. Looks to rip something. Linny in the backfield. Oh, and it just bounces out of the hands, but there's a foul called by Gaspard, the Yaka defender that tried to get a touch on it. Looks like there was some contact. I don't know if that affected the catch, but
yeah, it's really tough to see.
Sometimes from the camera angle, it's like there's no question that it was a contested disc that no one's quite entitled to, but it does sort of affect maybe her hand as she's trying to just close it. The timing is quite tight to the drop, I guess you could say. It would bounce off of her hand, but looks like it's going to be a turnover.
Yeah, Sam Megan coming in there from the sideline to, as you can when you're going against your team.
Add in some
or
additional
something to your
perspective.
team when you're bringing in a point to your team's detriment. Yeah, but like you're saying there, like in person, I thought it was a foul all day. It looked like the player had come up under Linny's arm, but another camera did not look as convincing as that.
Jalink moving the disc to Bass, immediately rips a flick huck to Gaspard. That one coming off on that far side.
That is a clean way to take half.
Clean way to take half. Very impressive work so far by both parties.
So yeah, all in all, I think it's been obviously Yaka doing very well this first half. Really the difference in it has been about the two upwind breaks. We can see Gravity they are earning their turns, they are getting their turns, but just struggling a little bit to get that disc moving back up the pitch against the wind.
And with that, we are at halftime. So we are just going to take a break here. Please enjoy a little advertisements from our sponsors.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
Yeah, look, all of my friends going crazy. I gotta brag on myself.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Lightspeed VC, a global venture capital firm, proud to sponsor excellence and team cohesion worldwide.
I'm Stef Pazzo, and I must eat.
Sometimes commentator, sometimes food eater.
On my ultimate travels in 2023, I sampled culinary classics from all across Europe,
Oh, wow.
guided by some of your favorite ultimate players.
That's the Dutch hospitality for you right there.
I'll give you an insight into the secret spots that only the locals know of.
Are these the best schnitzels in Vienna?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Go find Stef Pazzo on YouTube. Like and subscribe and follow the European Ultimate Must Eat series.
And we are back here after halftime. The score is Yaka 8, Gravity 4. Gravity's coming out on offense. We've seen lots of Yaka zones. I'm not surprised to see it again. This one's slightly different. Before they were almost playing a big wool. This one is looks like a trap cup. Helen just Baron finding a hole, but it just floats up too high for Gilhini. Let's see if Yaka can punch in this. downwind break. Bass with the disc to Jalink. Three Yaka players kind of around the vicinity of the disc. I don't think that any of them was trying to go to, but immediately taking advantage is the Gravity handler core, trying to throw it deep, but
yeah, I do back that all day. Like, Baron's got an absolute cannon.
Yeah.
And if she's getting an inch of space, you gotta go.
Nice read there by Becca. Sonia coming in from the Gravity defensive side, trying to put pressure on it, but Becca standing quite strong and reading the disc well, snatches it out of the air before.
Yeah,
was
from the
able
commentator's
to
stand, it looked like Sonia had taken position, but might not have been the case. We'll see here in the replay. But for Becca to come around and just take it with authority, really.
I think Becca's still just got that step in front, but the closing speed there, quite impressive. Look at her go.
Flying it.
Peryaslavets. Apologies if we get any names mispronounced. Do try my best, but
yeah, when me and Alana were chatting before, it's like, okay, at least we'll have the Irish names. The French could be challenging, and then and then there's even some on the Irish side that were a little that we might be stumbling over. So apologies there. Although, given I'm someone with one of the most complicated first names in Irish, I think I have. I think I've got a bit of grace to work with.
My name, personally, pretty easy. Alana Archer. Can't be that hard now, can it?
All right, we're back in.
Baron with the disc to Flynn. Gilheeney really coming into her own. Been playing with and against Gilheeney for years, really since 2019, I think, the first time I played with her. Fun to see where she's come since then. Popping that one up over the top of that wall. Baron just throwing and going as she pulls to the floor. Justina, great catch to get that one back. Pops it back to Baron. They've gone match, so it'll be interesting to see if the Kudges downfield can make any adjustments, but Sonia really working for that one. Great bid, just too far.
It is quite fun watching Claire and Helen throw to each other. They just smile the whole time.
They are a dynamic handler duo that do just look like they're having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and a great attempt there on a hand block with that. Ooh, hand was high. Really thrown all the way across for that swing. Castillo hitting the deck. The camera just showing that replay, bouncing out of her hands. Flynn with the disc. Almost playing as if it's a zone. Oh, and another bid there by Balance. But it's just a bit too far. I'd say that's one of the big things with the Gravity side. And that was some of the issue Yaka had this morning. They weren't able to make those adjustments. They just overthrew a bit too much. But they've really dialed that one in. And now it's Gravity that are struggling. Balance in a great position there, but the disc floating to Yaka's advantage. Puck going upwind. Dies a bit too short. So Baron picking up the disc on that sideline. They have gone into a zone again because of the short field.
Yeah, Gravity are starting to get a good bit of joy just popping the disc over the wall at the front. Little high releases from Baron and Gilheeney doing a bit of damage and then carving away.
Gilheeney ripping deep to Keenan. she's maybe their favorite defender, or their favorite receiver going on those deep shots. I think she's caught three maybe? She might be on 3 or 4 goals within this game.
I can feel Gilhini warming up into the game a little bit more, taking a bit more, or putting her fingerprints, is that a phrase?
Putting her fingerprints
on the game a little bit more.
At least it's not a crime, eh?
Yeah, should be caught rotten. So any players standing out to you, Alana, from first, I suppose, 2/3 of the game?
First 2/3 of the game, I would say I really like the cool, calm, and collected. I know that obviously we've been speaking about a lot of them, but Gilhini and Baron have been playing together for years, and you can tell. But adding in Flynn, adding in Justina and Sonia when they come back in as that 4th handler, I think that the patience that we've seen with that group across pretty exclusively playing Zone O for the whole game, that can be hard. Sometimes it's like, don't get bored. Don't try and throw something that you really just shouldn't be throwing. But I've been impressed with that so far.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar as well. Flynn is definitely one of the players that I'm less familiar with. I don't know if that's true fault of my own. But she really seems to be a good, like, working her way in well with Baron and Gilhini as well.
It can be hard going into a duo that is so well established, but I think that looks like they've really found a good space for her and a good role.
That's such a good throw from Bass. Carved through the zone.
Gravity throwing that zone again. Bass with the disc. They're such a threat. Oh, and there it goes. Wide open receiver. Gaspard, and again, probably their favorite receiver. I think that you've seen that combination, Bass to Gaspard, 3 or 4 times as well. So I'd say from the Yaka standpoint, those are the 2 that I think have really stood out to me in this game.
That was an absolute dime from Paula Bass.
Yeah.
And I think 3 passes before that, she'd also just ripped an IO flick straight through the zone.
Yeah.
Got it back. And then they shot it deep then for the goal.
Yeah. Fantastic luck there.
Anyone else on the Yaka side who has been a standout for you?
I would say it's hard to not mention Mondio and Castillo because they are just some of the core of this squad. But both of them have had pretty good games, and you can tell are really dictating what they want, especially on offense. They're the ones that kind of feels like lead the way. But I would say other than that, I really like the kind of consistency of the front 3 that have been running on this zone.
Yeah.
It's a tough job, and a lot of the time it's not respected or acknowledged enough. So
I was about to bring it up because it was the 3 girls are working hard. I know Langlois has been in there most of the times. I think Soren's been up there most of the time as well, and I haven't been able to see who's on the far side, but they're putting in a lot of graft, and it's such a thankless position to play. You can slow everything down, do amazing, and then not be the person that individually reaps the reward. It's much more of a team reward.
Yeah, you very rarely are the one that gets the block.
Yeah.
Because that's not where you're supposed to be. But that was a great D by Justina. Popping it back to Gilhini, and they are in match. So let's see what this end zone set has from Gravity. Looking to Baron, Gilhini, Baron, walking it just between the 2 of them all the way across the near side of the field. Up the line goes Gilhini for the score. That was good. A good point there between our pair.
1-2 punch, yeah.
Loving those give goes and kind of slow to not make a more aggressive bite for it.
Yeah.
From the Yaka side.
we'll see. This is really the time that Gravity need to start fighting their way back in a little bit more.
And that's a great D there by Justina. They're just shown on the replay. But here's that give-go walk. Takes a pause, nothing up the field. Huge smile on the face of Baron. And immediately goes to hit Gilhini, who's also got a massive grin. That's what I think I love to see. When you come to Frisbee like this, it's like...
Love being out here with their mates.
Yeah, sometimes
around.
You think about it, and it's, what, you're down 10-6, slowly starting to make a bit of a comeback here and there, but having a good time while doing it. So you never see this side very rarely getting down on themselves and with each other.
Yeah.
It's almost always smiles, which is special. You don't see that all that often.
You might be able to hear our fans behind us there.
They're giving us love.
But yeah, this would be Gravity need to start fighting their way back in now if they want to try and get a W. Or do you know if this is for ranking points?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I can have an ask.
I'll ask.
Jalink with the disc to LeBlanc. Beidelbach. LeBlanc. Jalink coming back. This gravity zone working hard, but finding a hole in the middle of it. Gaspard to Jalink. Becker all the way on the far side. Shooting it across, trying to find that hole, but just too far. A bit of a miscommunication, I think, on where one of the cutters, were they moving, were they not moving? But you see a couple hands going up being like, my bad, or next time kind of thing. Holy walking the disc in for the gravity side. Sutherland. And that's just a huck from Sutherland. That's a bit too short. It's a tough look going upwind like that.
Yeah, you know Sutherland's looking to just get it downfield, get it moving.
LeBon picking up the disc. To Menard. Becca. LeBon. Jalink on the far side. Gaspard. Disc pops up a little bit high, but able to keep it under control. Oof, and another one. Jalink coming down with it though. Moving that zone, coming all the way across to Becca. Great walk by LeBlanc to kind of make that forward progress, crashing into the cup. Jalink shooting. Oh. But Gaspard, again, that deep receiver that they are always looking for. Two gravity players trying to come under the disc, but Gaspard the one who comes down with the score.
Yeah, Lenny was coming in the back, applying a bit of pressure, but you could tell Gaspard just had to read the whole way through and wasn't going to give up that position. It's a tricky read on what to do because like Gravity are earning some turns, and from the looks of things, they're pretty happy to try and get a little bit of motion going and then get it to one of their shooters like Sutherland to just try and get it downwind. Or try and get it downfield. Hasn't really paid any dividends as of yet. And I think that as soon as they're giving Yaka that second chance, they're just happy to take it and punch it back in.
I agree. I think that Gravity have had a number of turns, especially around the end zone, where they're picking up the disc in that very close to that own end zone. Feels a little bit stagnant from the cutting side. That maybe because they've been playing D, they're a bit slow to then get those early cuts ready. So it's leaving the handlers with not that many options, and that's where you see some of those forced throws coming in. Gilheeney picking up the disc, across to Barron, all the way across to Flynn. Doesn't like that continuation option. Bounces it back to Barron to Gilheeney. In a zone O game, a lot of the same names that we say all the time, but respect to the poppers and the ones that are clearing out and making the spaces for their teammates. Very similar to the front three in the zone. Oh, great grab there, readjustment by Justina to Gilheeney. Looks at Sonia through, finding gaps to balance. Finds Gilheeney. They're in match. And that's Keenan again in the end zone. The heads never go down there. Yaka 11, Gravity 7. So they're still in it, but...
They're still in it, and the thing is, like, it's obviously a 4-point differential, but one upwind tends to bring a downwind, then it's 2.
Yeah.
One more upwind tends to bring another downwind, and then game on.
So not out of play yet, but we do only have 10 minutes left on the clock. Games, I think, are only 70 minutes. We've just hit that 60-minute point, so see what we can get in the last 10 minutes. See what magic they can pull out of a hat.
A lot of Frisbee still to play. So anything else you're looking forward to for the rest of the day or the rest of the tournament?
I mean, I think for me, it's not that often that we get to see the World Games teams. A lot of them coming together to play at this tournament, so probably have to say that's
it.
My highlight is to watch the mixed division there. But I think that there's a number of good club teams here as well, and there's a lot of... I know this game, we said, got some confirmation, is not for ranking points, but no. There's a lot of clubs here that are going to be competing for the rest of the season, and I think that that's something to kind of look out for, even though it feels kind of like an odd season. It's a bit early.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of people that I think are using this season as a season of growing pains, I think. Maybe it's just our teams, but...
What, the UK teams?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yaka on the offensive. Becca to Bass, crashing through that zone. Swinging across to Menard, to Gaspard. Oof. Sinead coming in there for that D, but immediately getting back for the force. Looks like they might have gone into match, but Tan there for the D. Immediately pops it to Lini, finds Sutherland. Let's see what cuts we have going, and a flick huck, but it's just caught by that wind and blades over. Bass immediately picks up, finds a big under coming in from Bonds. Back to Bass. Becker onto the far side. Gravity had already knew that they were setting that zone on that turn. Oof. And whilst it was some very patient walk there for Yaka, just an execution error. Just a bit far, just out, bouncing out of the hands. Beaglebach. Lini catching the disc on that far sideline. Again, feels just a bit stagnant by the defense's D-line's offense. Sutherland shooting another one upwind. Lots of bodies under it. And we have Inwood coming down with the disc.
good opportunity here for Gravity. Keep working it up.
To March. Throwing up a huck to Tim, but it's just floating out of bounds.
I think Alyssa, or Sutherland's definitely been given a green light to get that disc down the pitch anytime that's in her hands, however she feels.
Absolutely, and I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either.
I don't hate that
I think it's absolutely fine.
There's certain days and certain times where you see people playing Huck and D and you think, come on, let's play some real Frisbee. And then there's other days where you see people trying to play real Frisbee and you think, what are you doing? Just get rid of it.
I feel like
try and play for positioning and get a ton in the right area. Becca now with the disc from the Yaka side. Gravity's still in that zone, although we are quite close to the end zone. Swinging the disc all the way across. Oof, and we found a little gap in the middle of the zone, but I think it was just behind the receiver.
Boss was so chill there. They just, as soon as they got it in the middle, inside crossbody, ripped the flick for a big swing. Shame it didn't then pan out into a goal.
Gravity opting to play in a vert stack. Yaka immediately went to bracket it. That throw just going too far. 10 trying to toe the line, but ultimately not going to be able to. Becca. Menard, LeBlanc, Bass, ripping open that flick. Oh, and as it bounces out of the hands of one, it goes into the hands of another. Lucy Bonds there with the score. Not sure who that intended receiver was. I'd like to see if we can get that one back.
What on earth happened there?
We do have the screen in front of us. I should be probably looking at that rather than trying to see everything on the pitch.
LeBlanc gets the disc here to Bass, then opens up that field with the flick.
Oh, she was shooting for Barnes.
I think Bonds was the intended receiver for that. Don't blame Glassbod for going for it, though. It was within, she was right within the path of the disc, and you don't always know where everybody is, and you don't want to be like, oh, I thought that was someone else. It's like, you kind of have to go for it if it's that in front of you.
She was probably wondering why Boss had decided to fire the disc at her that fast.
Yeah.
And then realised it may not have been for her.
We got Bristol Open in the background there. Little dance warm-up.
Yeah, they had a universe point win against Ranla there in the first round.
I think they're playing Clapham next on this field, so stick around for that. Barron with the disc, catching the pull. Didn't have any option on who to throw it to. I think they expected it to go to a zone. Gilheeney got it, rips it immediately to Keenan. Oh, and throws a fun little around like that.
Keenan's been doing a bit of damage deep.
Oh, major damage deep. She's definitely that go-to receiver today.
It's between her and
Justina, I think.
No, Gaspard on Yaka.
They're the
who can out-deep the other.
Yeah. Drucka with the disc. Firing it down the field. Van Gerven. Back to Drucka. Ooh, a little bit of a bubble, but catches it. Helen staying there, Barron staying there with the poach and gets the D. Immediately looks for a huck, and Gilheeney, smile on the face as per usual.
That was always going to be Boomtown.
Loving that motion there between those three. Helen immediately wants to huck it. Her handler pairing obviously knows that's what she wants and goes deep for the huck with Gilheeney. Perry Slavitz with the score. Love that 7 cut.
I feel like I'm just throwing out cliches here, but
Here, let's
now
hear
would
it.
be a really good time to get that upwind break.
You've been saying that all game, and you're going to say it again now.
No
with
time like the present.
1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock.
Do we have any score caps for this tournament? I don't think so.
I think it's 13. I think it's games to 13.
Is it games 13?
Maybe
I think
15.
that might have been the world. The World
Oh.
Games might be doing that against themselves.
That
I don't
is
know
true.
if we're doing that across all
I have
divisions.
heard that they're playing a slightly altered format based on this being practice for
Yeah.
the tournament in China.
What else do we have on today? So obviously our show games are this evening, where we've got, well, I think the headliner that we'll all be settling down into the grandstand and Grasshopper's clubhouse for will be the Tokay SuperTeam and US World Games team.
I'll be doing commentary on one of the other ones.
So we've got an under 24 face-off in the open division, right? Canada and Australia. And then I cannot remember the women's.
And the final one is Iceni versus Stingrays, the Australian U24s. And Iceni, the club team from London.
LDN.
Yaka making light work of this point. Bielbach to LeBron. Swinging all the way across the field to Bass, really making that gravity front 3 run. So it really seems to shred zones using the full width of the field. Bass with the disc.
Gravity opting to hold his own here all the way
To the death.
down into the death, not good switching to match. It's always a tough strategy to do.
Bielbach, and then Becca jumping that into the end zone. Brings the score now to 13-8. And we've just hit that 70-minute mark, so that should be game. Just waiting for confirmation on the field. It looks like that is game. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think what it ultimately came down to was Yaka just a little bit more comfortable in the win, a little bit more clinical, knew what ways they wanted to attack. I think particularly the big difference it felt like was when their D-line got the disc, they were really quick, good at moving it. The gravity D-line, once they got turned, they were kind of relying on just big shots that weren't really working that well. Again, wind and swill causing a bit of difficulty, but yeah, good game all around. I'm sure both teams will have taken a lot from it and have one more game left for the day.
Perfect. Well, I think that there's a lot that can be taken out of that one, but thank you so much for joining us. Hope that you stick around and watch some of our other streams. We'll be here both today and tomorrow. 3 streamed games per round here at London Invite. Thanks for joining. I'm Alana Acha with Tig. This is ULTI.TV. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks.
ULTI.TV.